G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in over on the west side of the map, we've got Capoch, and he's going to be playing the French for us today. His opponent who spawns on the opposite side of the match, playing in the red, we've got Hera, and he's going to be playing some French for us as well. Now, I would just like to state before we begin, this is one of Liddicor's show matches that he hosts on his channel, so make sure you check him out as well. So they are open casting, which means that I'm allowed to cast them, I'm allowed to hang out and say g'day in my own little way, but you know, if you'd like to check out his perspective or check out all the games that he casts as well, make sure you go over there, say g'day. I'll leave a link in the description as well as in the pinned comment. So let's talk a little bit about what we've got going on today. So this is a show match, a best of 7. I'll be posting up all 7 games that these players may potentially play on the YouTube. They should hopefully be in order as well. So if you're watching the first game, you can look to expect the second, third, and fourth game as well. And both players have actually opted to play French. Now, obviously, this is Arabia that they're playing on, and it's very curious that they've both opted to play French, because typically this is more of a Mongol map, or at least in the current meta, that's the way it seems. But very interestingly, obviously the Mongols, in the most recent patch, I mean, people argue that they have been nerfed, that they haven't been nerfed, but if we talk about the Springwood change and the way that it has affected civilizations, Mongols objectively have been hurt, because it's a bonus for them, right? Like they get the Uvu, they put the blacksmith down next to it, they get improved siege engineering, and they can then subsequently just make siege out on the field. They can still do that, but obviously it's not as potent as it once was, and so subsequently their power has decreased. At least in my opinion, it has decreased relative to what it was in the last patch. And I think as a result of that, we're starting to see a return to the French. So obviously you guys would know that the French, you know, if we're talking about pre-Genesis, you know, that lead up to Genesis, even in fact the week of Genesis that happened before the main event, French was still considered to be one of the best, or rather the best civilization in the game. Initially it was Rus, then it was French, very quickly overtaking them, and part of that was because of the way that the meta is played, and typically players like to play on Arabia because it's the most open map, and French obviously does very well on those styles of maps because of the ability to raid their enemy and sort of get away with impunity as well. The fact that you're able to come in onto the wood line, if we have a look, there is no wood line at the moment for Hera, but they're able to come in onto the wood line, and they're able to take damage from the town center and then heal up with that chivalry. So it is a really strong bonus for them, and obviously they have returned to favor on this map because subsequently, you know, Mongols are not as strong as they once used to be. So it's quite curious to see both players actually blind picking France. So that's essentially what's happened. They go into this game, they pick it in a sort of civilization picker that's external. It's on a website, and they do it externally. So there's no sort of knowledge about what civ your enemy is going to pick, and both of them pick French. So very, very curious to see that that is the matchup that we've got. So let's talk a little bit what we can expect to happen this game as both players now look to enter into the transition phase. A little bit of a mistake coming in there from Capoch. Professional scouts, professional scouts, professional scouts. What else can we talk about other than that? 4 villagers on gold, going to be looking to get that up. Obviously the mill going to be going up as well. Keep in mind, French, not only do they have cheaper mills, cheaper lumber camps, cheaper mining camps, but they also have cheaper technologies, or at least cheaper economic technology. So you can see their professional scouts only costing 192, so a nice little discount for the French players. Hera on the other side, yet to get his mill up, and looks to be not playing so much into the professional scouts. This is kind of concerning for me. Hera, you got to be going professional scouts, man. So yeah, like the fact that he's only got 3 on wood, this looks very pre-Genesis build order. It kind of looks like Hera's just been like, maybe I should play France. I mean, he does have the second scout out, so that is sort of a good indication to me. The main thing I'm concerned of, obviously, if he doesn't go professional scouts, he will fall behind. And there's no two ways about that. Professional scouts is just, it's not necessarily an affordable tech, but you can't really punish a person for going professional scouts. You know, like you can punish an enemy for going a second town center. How can you possibly do that? Well, you ram them. Okay, but you can't punish the professional scouts. There's nothing that you can really do for that. But I think Hera's probably going to try and do that. Obviously, aging up now, going to be going straight into a Royal Knight. Still no mill down at this point in time. Capoch now aging up as well. But obviously Hera out with the double scout, probably signaling to his enemy that he might be going for going for professional scouts. At least that's what I would be thinking. We'll check back in with Capoche, see what he's up to, and indeed we do have the mill researching professional scouts. He's probably going to be making scouts from his landmark, and indeed he is. So he's got 2 up in the queue, but probably going to be looking towards that 7 scout. I was going to say that 7 scout landmark, that 7 scout number. He can always look to just sort of trickle as well, go for like a 2 or a 3 scout. But typically you do see this sort of 6 or 7 scout play, just because throughout the game scouts are going to be so helpful. But one of the things to note, obviously Hera's got the knight coming out. He's going to be looking to apply a little bit of deterrence here from his enemy, or to his enemy rather. Let's see if Hera looks to do that here. So I don't know if this is necessarily the best choice. Yeah, I think Hera's probably, at this point, the best thing for Hera to do is probably just head towards the enemy base and just try and look to get a villager kill here or there. But, you know, as we mentioned, people have now adapted. People realize, okay, guess what? Like, before Capoche even saw that the knight was coming out, he has got an outpost on his gold mine. Like, this is the kind of level of prevention people are going to now that they know how to play against France. And this is part of the reason why France fell out of favor initially, was because people worked out how to beat Royal Knights. Obviously, Royal Knights are still incredibly difficult to deal with once you get into the late game. They're sort of similar to the way that Age of Empires 3 French and Age of Empires 2 French played. But by the same token, people know how they work in the early game and subsequently can deal with it. We see the knights beginning to charge in and looking to try and clean these up. He might get a pretty good ram over onto this one, looking to try and make it work. But unfortunately, I think that scout is going to manage to get away. We've got a subsequent knight going to be coming out in response, so he's going to be able to cancel the charges of his opponent. Town Center also looking to pick up a couple of villagers inside, but going to be repelled there. And now up towards the north. So do note, he's only got 5 villagers out here. So very easily, he's going to spot this one, head into the outpost. He's not going to lose a single villager. Hera is, you know, sure, he's making idle time, but at the same time, you know, this is exactly what Capoche wants. He's happy. This is why he built the outpost in the first place. The outpost is there specifically to enable idle time, because if he doesn't have idle time, he's got dead villagers. So that's exactly what he wants. Capoche going to continue cleaning up around the map. We see that there's plenty of deer back here. He's actually looking to steal out some of Hera's hunts. We'll check and see what Hera is up to, though, as the barracks does begin to go down now. Another nerf to France, in a way, or at least to the knight, is that spears are auto-bracing now. So they never used to auto-brace. You had to, like, you very much had to prep spears to brace. But now they're auto-bracing. You attack, move, and they are always going to brace into charging cavalry. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's another nerf to the French and to their early game, because that really builds up. One of the strengths of the French, at least that it used to be, was the fact that, you know, let's say you've got 3 spears out, right? What happens? The knights come in with their charge. They don't auto brace, so subsequently, your first spear is immediately killed because it gets charged. Second spear might get killed. You might pull a knight back. You end up killing all 3 of those spears. Both of the knights survive. But now it's different, and it's different because the spears, the 3 spears all survive. And it changes the whole dynamic of the way that the game is played. So now we've got Hera coming out, pushing out with some archers, so really looking to do one-base play here. No professional scouts coming in for him. Obviously, going to be looking to just put on the pain here. Going knights, spears into archer knights. I actually prefer the spears and the knight here. So they're going to be looking at them getting in there as well. The archers looking to try and do that DPS out. But obviously the spears are feeling very good at the moment. And I tell you what, I kind of like this play from Capoche, just going with this combination. It's very strong. Obviously, this is kind of like the dream combination, but at the same time, it's really important to remember that when it comes to gluing onto your enemy in Age of Empires 4, it is quite easy to do with those melee unit spears, obviously managing to keep up with a very similar speed, or the same speed rather, to the archers. So that is something to be cognizant of. Still continuing to trickle out units across the map. Hera beginning to add in farms. And this is what this is where we talk about the power of professional scouts. Hera, in this position, in this matchup, can't afford to go out onto berries. So he would love right now to come out onto berries. He would love to come out onto this hunt. He can't. Why can't he? Because of the threat of Royal Knights. He's actually going to be dropping a mill out here. But if he does go out there, he's going to need to drop an outpost, probably a second outpost, because if he doesn't, he's going to be losing villagers non-stop. And he's going to be paying attention to that as well, because if he, for just a second of time, isn't paying attention, bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I think it's wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. House going to be going down now for Capoche. Also dropping down the Blacksmith, so going to be picking up that +1 melee attack. Another great synergy that he's got here, so +1 melee attack affects both of his units, so a really, really nice play from him. He's going to continue to ferry in those deers, or those deer rather. What's the plural of deer? I know the plural of sheep is sheep. Plural of deer is deer, I'm assuming. It just makes sense. Right? I feel like it's just got to be deer. Knight on knight action. Hera going to be taking out one of Capoche's knights, so chalk that one up on the board for the Canadian. Hera going to be taking the lead here when it comes to the military killed. Guys, just keep in mind, I will be linking both of the players in the description, so if you're unfamiliar with Hera, you can go check him out. He is also a content creator. Capoche is as well. So I think he's from Argentina. I want to say Capoche is from Argentina. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure it's South America. Somewhere in South America, that's what we'll say. But now going to be losing a villager here, so I think that might be the first villager going down for the game, actually. If we check the military, no, it doesn't indicate, but that is one unit that does go down. Hera going to be able to pick that one up, but now the knight going to be escaping with 8 health. Hera going to be very happy to keep that one alive, and his mass beginning to build at this point. We'll take a look at income per minute. I know you guys love to see income per minute. What kind of upgrades have we got here for Capoche? So we'll have a quick look. So we've got the no mining, no wood cutting, just the professional scouts. I don't think we had wheelbarrow coming through. We can have a look at these villages, see how much they're carrying. Only 10, so no wheelbarrow coming through. And now it looks like Hera looking to push in towards his opponent. He's got a nice little mass here of archers. I think this is probably going to be enough to one-shot a spearman. They do, I think it's 5 damage each. Yeah, 5 damage, so a total of 10. He's got 9 of them out, so we'll do 90 damage. No +1 here either on the resist, so they will indeed one-shot a spearman. So got to be careful here, Capoche. You are playing with fire, but now those spears going to be falling back while the knights come out. Hera needs to bring his knight. So when it comes to the micro in this battle, essentially Hera wants to connect his archers with the spears, and he wants to defend his own archers with his own knights, and that's essentially the way he's going to do it. So gets a very good screen coming in right there. It really comes down to micro, and Hera now going to be looking to pick off those spears one by one. As long as he doesn't lose any archers, we see a reinforcing archer going to be coming in here. Hera doing a great job just keeping up with his own archers, but by the same token, remember I said earlier, those spears, they stick like glue because they have the same movement speed, and they don't even mind if they're fighting against archers. Obviously, they prefer to be fighting against the knights, but Hera going to be in a difficult spot here as he falls back. Only 3 archers remain for him. Reinforcement archers, 4th archer, 5th archer going to be coming in now for him as well. More spears looking, and it looks like a pretty decent fight at the moment now for Capoche, but Hera is appearing to clean up as his knights do remain significantly stronger. And it looks like we may actually have a little bit of a retreat coming out right now from Hera, and Capoche begins to pull ahead on the score, so definitely going to be taking that victory. He has got quite a handful of units still left now, and Hera going to be able to heal up. He does have chivalry. We'll check in on Capoche and see whether he's got it as well. Indeed he does, and we'll have a look and see from Hera's perspective exactly what he's got going on behind him. So dropping down the Blacksmith, going to be going for that +1 attack, so he's going to be up to 6 attack here, but yet to have any of those melee armor upgrades. Not looking to go for a not looking to go for siege engineering either. Typically, you will see with this composition that players will look to go into siege engineering, but obviously that's going to be very difficult going up against spears. Spears having the same torch damage as knights, as villagers, and obviously only costing a fraction of what a knight costs. I think it's 33% of what a knight costs, so they are going to have essentially triple the siege of a knight. But obviously, a knight has got triple the pop efficiency of its opponent. But now we've got these knights beginning to move down towards these villages. We talked about this earlier. We said that Hera, if you're going to expand out here, you're going to need to add in those outposts. Otherwise, you will potentially lose those villages. He manages to keep them alive, taking a charge on one of them. The rest of those knights going to get charged up as well for him. So he's got to be careful to try and keep those alive, but manages to repel it. But I would say at this point in time, overwhelmingly, the lead is definitely in the favor of Capoche. Just simply because he's got... Oh, we've got more units going down here. What is this? Is this a sheep carcass? How long has this been... This has been long distance mined right here from a single villager. More units looking to connect, and now Capoche looking to actually get significant control over his opponent. Hera beginning to add in farms, and typically what you will see is the first player to add in farms will be the player that loses, if it's a short game. If it's a longer game, then it's normally okay, because the player is able... So essentially what I'm just saying there is a window where after you add farms that you can be pushed by your enemy. And if Capoche spots that out, which he does... he could potentially punish this quite significantly, because think about all those resources that are invested into Hera's military, or rather into Hera's farms. Those resources have been invested significantly into those farms, and the subsequent resources could be invested by Capoche into battering rams or into other military resources now. But Capoche really beginning to build up quite a lead when it comes to these knights. You can see them beginning to run around. Has he added in a second stable? It looks like he has added in a second stable. He's going to have double production coming out now. Obviously going up against Archer Knight, a full knight composition is going to win here. So Hera probably needs to add a barracks of his own. Actually going to be adding in a market. He's got the double archery range. He's got double stable out for himself. Oh, interestingly, when you double click now on the School of Cavalry, that includes a stable. That's cool. But Villager's going to be running inside or getting inside that outpost there, having a bit of a tough time. He's got a lot of villagers on gold, probably signaling to Capoche that he wants to get up to the next age. So I think there's probably a bit of a window here. And once again, you know, we talked about this in the early game. Villagers going to be continuing to struggle here, trying to get up here. And this all comes down to the power of professional scouts, because this whole time, you know, Capoche has been under his town center, very safe. He's actually now begun to add farms in himself. So hasn't needed to add them up until now. And apologies for that. That was the bug. That was the weird bug that you get sometimes when you move the camera with the middle mouse. I don't actually know how to stop that, but Capoche looking pretty strong. Hera going to continue trying to fight him out. We'll take a look now down towards the south as a wolf begins to get in on the action as well, and Hera trying his best to get that outpost up. It looks like he's probably going to make it up. They're going to be losing a villager or two. They do go down. 1-2 villagers do go down, and a single villager remains there to hold the outpost down. But now we'll take a look at the villager count. Hera sitting on 50 villagers at the moment. Obviously he has lost quite a few recently. His opponent Capoche sitting on 58. He's going to begin double stacking his farms. You can see that up, technically triple stacking this bad boy out here, so hopefully ends up putting a mill down there because it is quite cheap. But Hera also going to be triple stacking his farms, trying to keep them as close as he can to the town center. Does have the mill out here. No horticulture coming through for him just yet, and Capoche doing a really decent job. Still yet to get the +1 upgrades coming through just yet. Wheelbarrow only coming through now for Capoche. Yeah, not yet looking to get the blacksmith upgrades. Goldmine running out towards the north. Actually has got wedge rivets. Oh, I do take it back. I apologize. He's sitting on +4s. So the default is +3 because these are early Royal Knights. They are not Royal Knights. So that is the difference. But now, once again, villagers under threat, being forced to garrison up towards this northern position, and Hera having a difficult job. There's still plenty of resources out on this map. It's curious to me why Capoche doesn't look to invest just a couple more scouts into potentially bringing those back in, because that will save him quite a few resources in the long run. But now, once again, Hera going to be under threat on his wood line as more villagers go down. He's sitting on 52 villagers at the moment. He's got an awful lot of idols, 39 idols at the moment. That is never pretty when you got that many idols, and Capoche just doing a great job of running him around. So I really think at this point, Hera needs to add walls, or both players should be looking to add walls. So whether you just, you know, run a wall across the entire length here, whether you run a wall down here. I mean, this is Arabia, so walls are pretty difficult to get down. They are typically very big. So it's a sort of a funny thing to say, Drongo. I will say that much. But now going to be looking to age up. Guildhall going down. 17 villagers going to be pushing that one down. We'll check in on his opponent and see where Capoche is up to. Capoche still sticking to second age play here. We hear more of those wolves calling out. Has he gone for a boar? No, just going to be killing more, but actually adding in a scout, so could be looking to get in more and more units. And look at all of the knights that he's adding in. So at this point, Capoche probably going to realize now that his opponent's up, he's got one or two choices. Number one, go fight right now, or number two, look to get up himself and match the upgrades of his opponent. So we'll see exactly how he looks to play it. Down towards the south, Hera's base again going to be raided. So just those lack of walls. And you know what? You could probably get a wall in here for like 60, 70 wood. And that would be enough to save villager on villager on villager. You know, of course your enemy is going to slowly siege through it, but it's going to give you the heads up that you need. It's going to prevent that idle time. We had 39 idle villagers in here earlier. And Capoche doing so much damage now over towards the gold mine of Hera as well. Really just out multitasking him at this point. Hera's trying his best to expand, but obviously having a difficult time. Capoche is just keeping him in the base. All those villagers going to continue going down. Spears now finally coming out as well for Hera. So he's going to be trying his best. But villagers up towards the wood line as well going to be going down here. A couple of spears getting in the mix as well. 67 villagers for Capoche. 42 for Hera. So a 25 villager difference at this point. And Hera's not going to be feeling too good about himself. That is for sure. Villagers once again getting trapped down here. More and more knights beginning to run in. Hera types out, ladies and gentlemen. That is the game one going over towards Capoche. Hera unsuccessful in the first game, but obviously going to be looking to shore up himself on the second game. If you've enjoyed this cast, make sure you go check out Lidical. I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.